and it could be replaced, you know, but it's not my house.
A woman sharing her story with ABC-7 moments after losing a home to fire. Our fire certified reporter taking you behind the tape that is now keeping the public out. Also, a year and a half since the Cincinnati entertainment area looked like this. ABC-7 today learning the man convicted of killing another man there knows his punishment. Also, our New Mexico mobile newsroom with video the Sunland Park police chief says shows why people who live there need his service. We're putting it into context so you get the full story.
We want our visitors at the campus to be accounted for so that we can ensure the safety and security of our kids. That's the most important thing.
A local school district getting very high tech when it comes to keeping the bad guys away from your kids. It's new today, and it's only on ABC-7. Nicole?
And we're tracking some big changes to the forecast. Rain chances will increase, a drop in temperatures, and the winds will return. We'll talk about those details in Storm Track weather.
ABC-7 at 9 starts right now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC-7 at 9 on the El Paso Las Cruces CW.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Hart. Nicole, it is cold out there. What is the latest in the weather lab?
Well, temperatures are cooling off tonight, but we'll see one more nice day before we start to talk changes to the forecast. But we'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes, Bob.
All right, looking good. Thanks so much, Nicole. We do appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get to our top story.
Flames just shooting straight up. Like, I've never seen flames go. They look almost like just like knives of fire just going straight up.
Complete coverage of a story you saw as breaking news on ABC-7 at noon today. A house swallowed by fire in central El Paso. Well, this started just after 10 this morning on the 4800 block of Yandell. That is just north of I-10. And it took firefighters more than 4 hours to get everything under control. We know that there was a mother of two who arrived at the house to find it in flames. She lives there. She's currently renting that house. The flames were finally put out, though, after damaging about 90% of the home.
It hasn't hit me yet, but I know it will. Everything I've ever had or had in my life is in there and it's gone.
I'm just glad that my kids weren't here and that we're okay, and it's material and it could be replaced, you know, but it's not my house, and it hurts really bad.
Investigators are still trying to figure out what started the fire. ABC-7's Evan Folan is a fire certified journalist. He was actually allowed closer to the burning house than other reporters were. His video shows how widespread the damage is, starting, it appears, inside of the garage. Our New Mexico mobile newsroom tonight with video. The Sunland Park police chief is telling residents is proof of why they need to keep the city government. Chief Jaime Reyes is saying one of his officers recorded this video with a police body camera last week, right after a serious ATV wreck that happened right by Santa Teresa. Now, he is saying that video shows a sheriff's deputy arriving 16 minutes after the crash. And according to the video, Sunland Park police officers were there in just 2 minutes. Excuse me. Chief Reyes is telling voters if they choose to go back under county control, they'd better get used to waiting for help. But Doña County Commissioner Billy Garrett tonight saying people should not make a decision based on the one incident, despite what Chief Reyes or even the county sheriff might say.
Even the sheriff himself has said that if we don't have the police force that we do down here, it would not necessarily just have an issue with medical calls and crashes, it would also have an issue on our crime rate.
And, excuse me, this voice. And putting the chief's message into context, it is important to note that if voters do get rid of the city government, the sheriff's office could put a substation in that area like there is one in Chaparral, which would reduce the wait times in emergency situations. So we'll keep you updated on that. In the meantime, life in prison for Luis Castruita. He is the man who shot and killed another man outside of a strip of bars in West El Paso back in March of 2014. The jury came back with the sentence early today, a few days after convicting him for the murder of Efrain Gonzalez. The defense spent this week trying to convince the jury to go easy on Castruita, but the state told the jury no sentence makes sense at all except life. And again, that is what he got. A major offensive underway tonight to take back an Iraqi town from ISIS. Mary Malone has a story. It's new today.
Following weeks of coalition airstrikes, 36 in just the last day, and with continued coalition support, more than 7,000 Peshmerga fighters began a ground offensive Thursday to take back the northern Iraqi town of Sinjar from ISIS, also known as ISIL or Daesh. Sinjar lies on an important highway and was overrun by ISIS in August 2014.
You'll recall about this time last year, we were all facing the horror of what was happening in the vicinity of Sinjar to the Yazidi people. A year later, Kurdish forces, some number of thousands of them, have launched into the attack to push Daesh out of that area to cut Route 47.
Highway or Route 47 connects the ISIS-controlled city of Mosul in Iraq with Raqqa, the group's stronghold in Syria. The Pentagon says retaking Route 47 is critically important.
This is a specific effort to target this one supply line, this critical supply line between Raqqa and Mosul. That we think, if it is indeed severed, would have an impact on ISIL and its operations, particularly in Iraq.
By late Thursday, Kurdish Peshmerga fighters had retaken some of the small villages surrounding Sinjar and a portion of Route 47. But military experts say to expect a long fight to retake Sinjar itself.
Going from house to house, where you can't use the American air support, where you can't use artillery, where you can't use mortars, gives the advantage to the defender. So it may be a couple of hundred against 7,000, but in my mind, ISIS could continue this fight for quite some time.
I'm Mary Maloney, reporting.
We have an update right now on those new trolleys that'll take you from downtown to UTEP and then back downtown. City video showing the old El Paso trolley cars that will eventually be put back on the streets are now on their way to Pennsylvania for restoration. The project is costing the state about $100 million, and that's what the state gave El Paso, but on one condition: that money has to be used on a trolley line. Here's a live look at traffic right now with our TechStock cameras. Looks pretty good out there. No worries as of right now. There was a lot of congestion at I-10 and McRae a little while ago, but it looks a lot better than it did earlier today. And let's go ahead and go to your new information now from Northeast El Paso on that power outage. Power, we are told, is now back on to a few dozen homes. This on or near the 9100 block of Diana. Electricity was cut off for almost 7 hours, starting at 11 this morning. A spokesman with El Paso Electric saying a garbage truck accidentally caught the wire crossings and brought down 4 poles. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but we did speak with a resident who, again, was without power for most of the day.
I feel bad for the guy who did this, but I mean, it's hard because we have no electricity and it's cold inside the house already.
Storm track weather right now. We have Nicole Gomez tracking those cold temps. She said it best. It's cold in the house and outside, right?
It is cold outside. Let's talk about the current temperatures, courtesy of our ABC-7 Weather Net site, sponsored by the Mattress Firm. It's cooling off, and at least it won't be quite as cold as it was last night, or this morning, I should say. El Paso on the northeast side of town, Chapin High School, we're at 50 degrees. Just outside of our studio on the west side of town, 57. And notice Cielo Vista Elementary School currently at 49 degrees, so not nearly as cold as it was last night. Highs today at the El Paso International Airport, 65 degrees, 60 Las Cruces, 68 TRC, and 57 was the high today in Silver City. But it's a little cooler in Las Cruces right now, 37 degrees, 51 at the El Paso International Airport, Silver City, 37. We're also at 37 degrees in Ruidoso, and we're currently under clear skies. So a little chilly out there right now, but we're in for a nice night. Now, we are talking changes to your weekend forecast. The rain chances will go up, and next week we're tracking another system that will drop our temperatures and pick up the winds yet again. But we'll talk about those details in your full forecast. Bob?
All right, looking good. Thanks to Cole. All right, earlier today at KVIA.com, we broke a big story on a former UTEP football player now in police custody. We're talking about 20-year-old David Ham. He was wanted for an alleged sexual assault that we're told happened back in UTEP, or on the UTEP campus back in May. Well, Ham was arrested in Louisiana today, and he's waiting to be sent back to El Paso. The El Paso School District about to start using a new security system to keep tabs on anybody who visits any of the district's 96 campuses. Reporter Josie Ortegon reports, and it's only on ABC-7.
It's kind of a relief. I know that kind of stuff is everywhere, but if the school is in charge, it's a relief.
Mesita Elementary School parents say they do everything in their power to keep their children safe.
Schools are probably a prime target for sex offenders.
And they say schools do too, but there's always room for improvement.
Even though if you go to the office, they don't know who's coming in because they're just going asking for permission. They're not checking in their background or anything.
And that's exactly why the El Paso Independent School District is opting for this electronic visitor management system by Raptor Technologies.
We want our visitors at the campus to be accounted for so that we can ensure the safety and security of our kids. That's the most important thing.
All visitors will now be funneled to one central location. That's where they'll be forced to enter the school's main office and be screened.
And here's how that process works. Visitors put their driver's license through a scanner. The computer then checks a database for registered sex offenders in all 50 states. If a visitor is cleared, they're given a badge to enter the school. If not, school officials will be notified, and that's when they can turn them away.
So we're not trying to leave any parents out. What we're trying to do is ensure the safety and security of our kids.
I think anything that is added security for our children is definitely a plus.
Josie Ortagon, ABC-7.
By the way, that new security system will be installed by the end of the month. Parents will be notified about changes in the visitors policy in the coming weeks. But hey, consider this your first warning and your alert that it's happening. All right, have you ever seen those kids who stack and unstack and stack and unstack cups like they're superhuman? Well, no, they don't live on another planet. Some of them are right here in El Paso, and they are on a mission to break a world record. Nicole, how cool is that? And why is this man? He wants to follow his dad and brother and become the next president, offering free chest bumps to anybody who does what that man did. Well, what did he do? Stick around to find out. Yeah, chest bumping Jeb Bush. How about that, Nicole?
That sounds fun, and the forecast sounds pretty fun too. A nice day tomorrow, but we'll talk about those changes coming up in storm track weather.
It sounds fun. What'd you do this weekend? Chest bump Jeb Bush?